more pugs. It's time for some internet historian. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. You guys had me watch the part about the one about the cruise ship. You guys had me check out some other ones, but at the same time, it's been a long time since I've seen Internet Historian. By the way, the person that requested the Internet is Serious Business, I watched that a long time ago. So I do apologize about that, but it is what it is. I don't go into something I've already seen before because, simply put, it's not my style. Like, I want you guys to experience something for the first time with me, and no other way around it, okay? Now, what is he going to be talking about here? I have no clue, okay? None at all. None whatsoever. I just noticed this popped up on my feed, and knew eventually it was going to get requested, but I want to go ahead and get ahead of the curve on this. Here we go. I Am Become Fancy, the theater. Let's get into it.
Brought to you by NordVPN.
Thank you. Ooh. Oh, wait 48 hours for initial upload. Of course.
Tisk.
One thing I do, guys, if you don't know, if I like to reach out to creators I haven't checked out before, unless, like Internet Historian, a lot of people have checked them out before. I like to make sure of that before I keep on going, and I like to respect the rules they put in place. So, I'm going to wait till the 48-hour mark. You guys be seeing it then.
Tisk, tisk.
Tisk.
Look at you. Uncultured.
Yes.
Unsophisticated.
Yes.
Middle class.
Oh, no.
No, don't speak.
Okay.
You'll just make me throw up.
Sorry.
I'd say cover up with this dinner jacket, but I'm afraid that you'd get your head stuck in the sleeve and asphyxiate.
Help, I'm stuck.
Listen, lowball.
Okay.
Don't you want to be refined? Don't you want to be fancy? Like what?
No.
That's French. I don't expect you to know what it means, but I have some good news.
Okay.
Before this financial year ends, I have decided to make a charitable deduction.
What is it?
It's you, champ.
Oh.
For you see,
You can have premarital sex.
This virus. I have made several videos, though, which will show you how to bluff your way to the inner circles.
Oh.
Undetected.
Oh.
Yes. By the time the elites find out,
Neon Genesis Evangelion is psychological and intense.
it will be too late. I get you in, you eat all the hors d'oeuvres,
Oh.
we get out.
Yes.
That's the plan. And let's begin your instruction with theater.
Oh.
The YouTube premium of upper society.
Oh.
And the first section? Symphony. The first period of performance, that's called Baroque, from 1600 to 1750.
Okay.
This featured Bach and Vivaldi. Now, there was also a guy named Giuseppe Tartini, and he was the best one of them all.
Okay.
Because one evening, he had a dream where the devil showed up and presented him with a deal. The devil would become his teacher and impart on him everything he knew about music. Yes. Once Tartini had learnt everything he could, he handed over his violin and asked the devil to play. The devil played the greatest musical piece that Tartini had ever heard. Tartini woke up with a gasp, and he tried to recreate what he had heard in the dream. And what he wrote down was his most famous piece, the best thing he had ever written.
Okay.
And he said, "This is shite compared to the original. This is nothing better than a tribute."
You gotta believe me.
And that's where you get the Tenacious D song from. He named this piece The Devil's Trill, and he claimed that the difference between his version and the version in the dream was so great that he would have smashed his violin and quit music forever had he not needed it for his job.
Oh.
Classical, 1750 to 1830.
Let's hear it.
Mozart and Beethoven show up like da-da-da-da. Now, Beethoven was famously known for going deaf. Once that happened, everyone told him that he should just quit music forever. But he just wouldn't hear it.
There was so much stuff with Beethoven. There was so much with him. He was so good. But at the same time, he couldn't hear anything at all. It was just nuts how he managed to keep on composing. In fact, his lead violinist was the one that would signal him, letting him know that the audience was clapping.
Anyway, there's so much I could say about these two. Romantic era. Now that's when everybody started kissing, and it's my favorite. Great piece. Mwah. Oh, you played wonderfully too. Mwah. We also enjoyed listening. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. All you need to know about this one is Chopin and Berlioz. Berlioz, however, was not getting any kisses. He
Why not?
was relatably, painfully single, living alone in Paris.
Aww.
The city of love.
Aww.
So here's how it started. He's there and he's in his early 20s and he is looking for a new GF. So one day he attends a Shakespearean play and on stage he spots an actress and he immediately falls in love with her. He wrote her many notes confessing his love, but her DMs went unreplied. So he began writing a symphony about her. How can she ignore this? And also around this time he started smoking a lot of opium, but don't worry about that. Anyway, so he wrote this piece just for her. However, his DM still went unreplied.
Oh no.
For several months he started to get quite disheartened.
Sad face.
Until he saw another girl. So he immediately fell in love with her instead, and he said, you know what? I'm going to change that symphony I wrote, so now it's about this other lady, and not about that ugly one that I didn't like anyway.
Okay.
This time, happily, she reciprocated, and they fell in love and were set to marry.
Yay.
Suddenly, what the fuck? Phones haven't been invented yet. Yes, hello, I'm busy. Oh, Rome? To study? Absolutely. I'll catch the first flight out. So Berlioz went to Rome to study music.
Okay.
However, while he was away, he got some news.
Berlioz, I have to tell you something.
Oh no.
Sacre bleu. Some other, more handsome musician swooped in and married his girl while he was in Rome, and they ran away together.
Ain't that a
Berlioz was furious.
anger?
And he set his mind to solving the problem. I know what I'm going to do.
Oh.
I'm gonna murder her and her lover. And her mom. And then I'm gonna do a self-murder. Alright, so this gets pretty elaborate.
Okay.
His idea is to dress up as a housemaid. He has bought both poison and 2 guns. Now he is going to sneak into the house of his ex-fiancée, and there
Go for it.
she and her mother will be sipping tea, which he has already poisoned. Then he will pull off the clothing and reveal himself. Blam, blam, sad overture. So he heads back over to Paris to do it. But while on his travels there, it takes quite a while, he has to change carriages. And when he does that, he leaves the guns in one of the little cubbies. So he's lost all his weapons. What is he going to do now? Well, his next leg on the stop is Genoa, and he decides, you know what? Let's just skip the murder and go straight to the finale. So he stops off in the port city of Genoa, and he's there at the side of the Mediterranean. He pauses for a moment, then he throws himself in. Now, some people see this whole thing happen, and they think he's had an accident, so they run in to try to save him. They pull him to the shore. He lived. So he has now reached his lowest point.
Right.
He dejectedly continues home. He gets back to Paris, and he wallows around, feeling pretty sorry for himself.
No doubt.
But he decides, you know what? I may as well do what I do best in times of trouble. smoke a lot of opium.
There you go.
And while I do that, I shall write a symphony. Although I ain't gonna name it after that hoe who stole my heart. And so he went back to work. But here's the thing. It was the greatest piece he had ever written. And it premiered to a huge crowd. And you know what? It was a smash hit. #1 on iTunes.
Nice.
But then, and here's a bloody plot twist.
Ooh.
Remember the first girl?
Yes.
Well, she attended that concert and she realized that Berlioz was a genius. And then she wrote a letter to your boy saying how good your bloody symphony was, and sorry about not replying, I just put my phone down and got super busy or whatever. By the way, I love you. And so Berlioz goes, well, I love you too.
Oh.
And a year later, they were married.
Yay.
There's a beautiful moral of the story. See, fellas, don't jump in the Mediterranean. Anyway.
Well, at least there was a somewhat kind of maybe happy ending. Probably not.
A few years later, they got divorced.
Nice.
Because weirdly, he cheated on his wife with the housemaid. Not that one, a different one. But then he married that housemaid. Hooray. But then when he died later on, for some reason, he gets buried with both of them. It's kind of strange.
Bruh.
But, moving on to the Impressionist musician.
Let's go.
Now that's Claude de... The what now? Claude...
I already know at least 3 of you are posting this in comments. I already know I hear the comments right now.
The what? You know what? You'd better go to ad time. Alright guys, welcome back to the Nord Stream. Today we're playing Assassin's Creed 3. Chat, come on, chat. Hey, oh, everyone's spamming Nord in the chat. Whoa, a new follower! Hey, welcome to the Dream Team Sub Cream. Thank you so much for the great. Oh, unfollowed.
Nice.
Sorry, guys. The cleaners are here. Sorry, just ignore the mess. I haven't cleaned up these bottles yet. No, it's just tea. It's just tea.
Uh-huh.
I stream for 10 hours a day, and it's like the algorithm is against me or something.
Yeah.
How come everyone is watching Asmon's stream? And
I don't know.
I'm not getting any new followers. I'm playing the games. What more do you want me to do? Just a quick word from the sponsor. NordVPN is the VPN that you can trust. So go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian for a huge deal on a 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months for free plus a 30-day money-back guarantee.
There you go. If you want a VPN, description down below, my guys.
Today we are going to be watching the new Snow White movie.
No.
I love the intro. Oh, I love seeing that
No,
Disney logo.
I am
That's
not
brilliant.
doing
That's
that.
brilliant. Guys, I'm just gonna get up and get some food. I'll be back in a minute.
I am not.
What the f? Who reported my stream? Hello, my Nordlings. Welcome back to the stream. Can we get some ends in the chat, guys? No, not like that. Bots! Welcome back to the ASMR stream for NordVPN.
Sell your feet pics, dude. Just do it.
Today I'm going to be drinking a can of Coke while I say the word Nord. Nord. Nord.
Yes.
Thank you for the tier 3 sub.
Yes.
With NordVPN, I can be outside my house, Jack's Film's house, Samito's house, Ordinary Things' house.
He went there. He fucking went there. He went there.
Just like that. Welcome back to the
went
hot
there.
tub stream. What do you guys mean? How many hot dogs can I put in my mouth? Why? I'll just... Oh my god, $5,000 donation. Thank you so much. You guys are such good friends.
Oh my god.
Streaming's not for me. I'd rather go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian to get a huge deal on a 2-year plan, plus 4 months for free.
Oh.
And over.
There you go. Oh.
Watching Netflix, are you?
Oh.
all tucked in with a 3-hour essay on Good Game Good, and here's why.
Fallout New Vegas is actually the only based Bethesda game.
Turn that off. I've got something for you much less enjoyable and far more expensive.
Okay.
We're going to the theater.
Yes!
Theater, from the ancient Greek, theatron, the most dramatic of the Transformers.
Oh, okay.
It means a place for viewing. Here's a Roman theater. They were quite simple back then. You have the stage, the auditorium, and the vomitorium. Now, for a very long time, people thought that the vomitorium was a place where the Romans would gorge themselves, where they would eat so much that they would throw up and then gorge themselves again because they were so decadent and or bulimic. But it comes from the word vomere, which means to spew forth.
Okay.
Because that's where people go in and out. So vomitorium is just a dramatic way of saying the entrance.
Okay.
Now, if you skip forward to the 1800s, things are getting a lot more modernized. But they still didn't have electric. So they had what's called the limelight. And that's why they say, to be in the limelight, to be the star of the show. What they would do was take a piece of quicklime and heat it up super, super hot, which will naturally glow very bright. They would then take reflective mirrors and lenses to focus the beam, and they would use that as an early form of the spotlight. The limelight is not because it's green, but because it's made from quicklime. In the modern day, things are a lot more advanced, and they can do all sorts of cool shit with like lasers going into your eyeballs and all sorts of stuff.
Yay!
But it's not just the tech that's had an upgrade, it's the architecture as well. In Elizabethan times, they had the yard, and you could get in here for about a penny apiece. And that's where all the poor people stood to watch the shows. Mm-hmm. It's like when you go to Oppenheimer and you end up with the worst seats in the IMAX theater, right? But thankfully, in modern times, we have fixed that problem. We kicked out all the poor people and we sunk the floor down low and put in an orchestra.
There you go.
Now, these things are usually 6 to 12 feet deep, so they're not obstructing the audience's view. Mm-hmm. But having a giant hole at the end of a stage is quite dangerous. So usually they put a big net there as well.
Okay.
And yet, a lot of people still get pitted. Like a lot of people. In 2011, during a production of The Sound of Music, one of the lead actresses fell into the orchestra pit and was left paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh, God.
In 2009, a conductor, not a superconductor, just a regular one, fell 14 feet into the dark pit and broke 9 vertebrae and 1 ankle. Mamma mia.
Oh, my God.
He fell on his pointy conducting thing. At the Bolshoi Theatre, a violinist died from his injuries after falling into the pit.
Oh, my God.
This theatre is prone to all sorts of accidents, by the way. It's kind of cursed. But performers and musicians aren't the only ones falling into the pit. In 1988, an 82-year-old man fell from his balcony box seating all the way down into the pit during a performance of Macbeth. He died. Very spooky.
Okay.
Even already dead people are getting pitted. In 2016, a man sprinkled his friend's ashes into the orchestra pit at the Met Theatre.
Dude, seriously?
This happened during the intermission.
Dude, seriously, you can't do that. You can't do that.
And it was a sort of tribute to a mentor of his. But of course, people went, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't know." And he flees the scene.
Like, seriously, what would you... Why are people so damned in... I don't understand.
Everyone's coughing and sneezing up dead guy, and people think, is this anthrax? What is this? So they call in the anti-terrorism police, and the whole show is cancelled for the rest of the evening.
Wow.
A quick intermission.
Okay.
Or is it? Ooh, fiddle-tee-dee, I am the trap master. Not like that. Do not ask me to reveal my secrets, woman. I have dedicated my life to the mysteries of the theater. Ah, the theater. She has so many enigmatic traps.
Uh-huh.
Let us start with the most simple yet devious.
Oh.
The wall trap. It allows the actor to walk directly into the set piece. Ah, where did he go? Nobody knows. Cast your eyes over here to the genie trap. Now the victim stands on this dumbwaiter, and a counterweight launches their hapless body up onto the stage. Whoosh! In the olden days, this circle of flaps would sometimes go on top, and then that would make the whole thing just one way.
Nice.
Now, back when they made this thing, they didn't have hydraulics. So instead, they'd have like 6 stagehands pulling as fast as they could. And sometimes it would go totally wonky, or it wouldn't open properly, or they'd only get about halfway through. Oh, well, I guess that's it. There's only 2. Wrong. This is the vampire trap.
Okay.
And if I want to come back up again, this is called the sunroof trap. Very cool.
What?
Watch out for the closing doors on this one. It managed to trap Spider-Man's foot back into production in 2013. Me and the Green Goblin, we collabed on this one. All right, there's one more. The Ghost Glide.
Okay.
What you do is stand on this slidey bit, and it ascends diagonally, which makes it look like he's coming out of the ground. But the ladies are there yawning, they're going, ooh, short ghost.
Yeah.
But then, 5 foot, 5'1", 5'2". All the ladies are turning their heads now. 5'3", 5'4", 5'5". All the ladies are loving it. Now, I bet you're wondering, what happens to the actors when they go down these traps? Are they dead and gone forever? Yes,
No.
sometimes.
Oh.
In 1888, Frederick Federici was playing the role of Mephistopheles in Faust at the Princess Theatre in Melbourne. As he descended the trap at the end of the play, goodbye, everybody, goodbye, he had a heart attack and died.
Oh my God.
Never seen again. So as you can imagine, with this many deaths, the theatre has become a highly haunted place.
Yes.
Oh, yes. In fact, sometimes you can put your ear right up to the wall and you can hear 2 male ghosts wrestling. Can't fake that. Ah, another ghost hole. Don't look inside. I did once. Almost went blind. That's why I wear the mask. Anyway, because of all the ghosts, the theatres do whatever they can to keep the spirits happy. See this? It's called a ghost light. When everything is closed, it is kept on always. Kept on for the ghosts, so that they don't bump their shins in the dark or whatever.
Yeah.
At the Palace Theatre in London, there has been...
We actually had, our high school, they had a auditorium, and it had a raised platform, and we lost power in there one day, and some idiot was in there and decided this would be a good time to walk around. And you can pretty much guess what happened. He took a header right off the side of the auditorium platform. Everybody heard him. Nobody could get to him because we didn't have cell phones back then, and there wasn't any lights, and there wasn't no emergency lights either. He just face planted and then groaned for about, I don't know, 10 minutes until the lights came back on.
some ghostly activity.
It seems to be a bit of a hotspot for ghostly activities.
And that's why they always keep 2 empty seats at the back so that the ghosts may sit there and watch the show.
Ooh.
So that's why we traditionally kept a couple of seats off sale for the ghosts. However, Harry Potter is so popular that we sell those seats now.
Oh.
You what,
Also,
Mike?
most theatres close for 1 day per week, and on those days, the ghosts are left to perform for each other in their own shows,
Okay.
which they like, we think.
Maybe.
I was worried about my own vagina. It
Oh,
needed a
finally, the vagina
a
monologues.
culture of other vaginas.
You know, I wasn't always part of the elite. In fact, from a very young age, I
Tell
grew
us.
up in an orphanage.
Tell me more.
No, my parents weren't dead. Rent in that building was just really cheap. But my parents showed me no affection.
Oh my God.
And as soon as they could, they sent me off to boarding school.
Oh no.
But boards were always their passion, not mine. I tried to run away, but they caught me. And boy, did they throw the book at me. Alas, I did not dodge in time. I spent the next few years in a coma.
Oh, okay.
A Native American town, Pueblo, Acoma.
Fine.
And the people there taught me how to read American.
Okay.
They also had a local library, and I spent my days buried in books, learning as much as I could about the arts.
Really?
And once someone noticed me buried under those books, and they rescued me,
Of course.
I knew I wanted to teach default character presets like yourselves, all about Shakespeare.
Okay.
Editor's note. I started Googling Shakespeare, and I got kind of distracted, so I don't know, here's a WAV file. You can do something with this. Put him in like a classroom or something.
There you go.
All right, attention, everybody. I am your new teacher. You are a bunch of troubled inner city youths. All you know is shoot gun, fail test, and crime. But I'm here to teach you that actually, books and reading and stuff are actually pretty epic after all.
These movies were made in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and they were beyond cringeworthy. They were beyond maximum cringe. It was awful. Just God.
Now, the earliest known written language is what, Mr. Single Parent Household? I don't know, Teach, but you're never gonna get through to me. Oh, really? Well, what if I go back in time? Back in time. In the long, long ago,
Okay.
very few could read. But to be fair, most of the written languages were kinda shit. This is cuneiform.
Is Sumerian still the first language that they found, or have they found something earlier than that? I would have hoped so by now.
The very first written language, and it has far too much punctuation. Then eventually came along the Egyptians, and they invented emojis, but they would call them hieroglyphs. Anyway, the typical written thing would go like this. Message for you, sir. Big bird, man with stick, man sitting, circle. Oh, more bills. Eventually that became quite annoying, so the Phoenicians, who were a kind of Lebanese, very progressive especially for those days, now they came up with a better idea. They started going, hey, that sounds a bit like an A. Buh, that sounds a bit like a B. Kuh, and so on and so on, until we had a proto-form of the alphabet.
Oh my God.
Now, the Greeks thought that was pretty neato, but they said, let's come up with an even better version with 22 letters, and soon that will be like English. Oral history. Greeks, more like geeks. Got 'em. Oh, yeah? Well, let me tell you about something
What the hell?
highly relatable. Of the surviving Greek works, the greatest hits were the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Yep.
Now, because most people couldn't read, this stuff wasn't written down for a very long time, and instead it was memorized and performed. And when they performed it, they used one of these, a lyre. Now, this was great for conveying tone, right? So here's a soft bit, doo-doo-doo, but then this is a big dramatic bit. Dun, 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 dun. Now, the Iliad starts with this guy, Menelaus, king of Sparta, and he has a wife, Helen, and she is a very fine lady. And then the Prince of Troy shows up.
I swear to God, that Brad Pitt movie made me want to put my head through a wall. Just why? Just they made a whole love story between him and the like niece of the king of Troy, when it was really the reason he went ape in the end of the day was because his lover, who just happened to be his cousin, was killed. It was his lover's cousin. I can't remember, but you get. I'm an idiot. Don't worry about me.
His name is Paris, and he goes, "Damn, shorty, awooga, awooga." Hey, that's what he'd say. right? And he and his boys abduct her and took her all the way back to his crib in Troy.
Right.
Now this makes Menelaus quite miffed.
Hey,
Pissed.
hold on there, Buster.
He declares a turf war, but he can't win it alone, so he calls on his homies. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, and Achilles, the best drive-by shooter of all time.
Really?
But Achilles is not in the mood to fight, so the whole...
Yeah.
The Iliad is basically spent trying to convince this guy to get involved.
Please.
No.
Please.
No.
Eventually, they win the turf war by being very sneaky. They make a giant horse, which is the symbol of Troy, and they leave it at the front gate. That's their way of saying, "Oh, I guess you win. We're walking away now." And meanwhile, thousands of soldiers go off and hide in some bushes.
Yep.
Now, the Trojans are very suspicious, but they can see that the Greek ships are actually sailing away into the horizon. So they know, no, it must be real, must be real. We've won the many years war. But actually, there's almost no one on those ships, and there's a surprise inside the horse. Later that night, when everyone's asleep, boiling hot tzatziki everywhere. And also some soldiers wearing thermal protection. They get out and they open the gates, and then everyone comes out of the bushes, running into the city, and kill everybody. After they win...
Yeah, history is kind of like that. These days we don't wipe out entire cities. Wasn't that long ago that we did, though.
In the war, Odysseus heads back home to Ithaca. However, on his way, he starts making beef with Poseidon,
For some
god
reason.
of the sea. And Poseidon is mad at the disrespect, so he sends Odysseus on a long-ass detour, and that detour is the story of the Odyssey. Pretty epic, right, kids? Whoa, Tish, that's fire. I'm starting to come around.
No.
That Odysseus guy is literally me. Yeah, I'm
No.
going to try that horse trick on my ops. Homer from Homer's Odyssey
Really?
is not a character in the story. He's the guy who tells the story, and then people wrote it down. Now, moving chronologically to the next big one, you've got the Bible. And for all practical purposes, this was basically an oral tradition too.
Deliverance is a fun game. If you haven't played it, pick it up. You get to have a sermon while you're so drunk you can barely stand up.
Most people were illiterate by this point, and the Bible was written in Latin, and pretty much only the clergy knew Latin, so they would be the one to recite it to people.
It says that the cute lady at the front should go on a date with me, please. Listen, the rules are the rules. I didn't say it, the book did.
There was a translated version into English, the Wycliffe's Bible, and you better believe that thing was a threat to the order, so
Very
they
much
made
so.
that illegal to own.
What?
And if you were found with an unlicensed copy, the punishment would be death. So it remained. The Bible was read to the people. Now, by the 1300s came Chaucer, who wrote the Canterbury Tales, and that was a pretty big deal.
Get this book now.
Because it's one of the first significant works written in Middle English. It describes a bunch of people making a pilgrimage from Southwark to Canterbury, which is here to here, which was the longest journey anyone had ever made in the 1300s. Now, it's a whole series of stories, and most of them can be boiled down to, how come if everyone is on a pilgrimage, you're all so focused on material stuff? Oh, hypocrites much?
Yes.
Dong. It's now the 1600s, and I've updated all the textbooks from Middle English to regular. In 1601, King
So like regular to unleaded?
James I said, all right, you know what? Let's everyone have a copy of the Bible they can read. Let's do a King James Bible. I won't feature in it, but I'd love to be in the title. And he commissioned a committee of scholars to rewrite the thing in English, God's language.
Now I can't speak Spanish or anything.
It took 8 years. And that brings us to Shakespeare.
Ay.
And he's a huge deal. Oh, look, we're out of time. But sir, we're supposed to do penis inspection day today. No, there's no time. Roll the end card.
Okay.
The end. All right, that's the lesson. You watched the whole video. Or at least, You had it on in the background while you scrolled your phone.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't be prouder of you.
Well, thanks.
There's just one more quick thing I want to tell you about.
Oh, what is that?
Theater props. For example, this gun. Now, the thing... Oh, look who it is.
Oh! Dude, too soon. Way too soon. Okay? Way too soon.
I know what you're thinking, but it's just an actor. We all know that the real Lincoln is dead. You know, when he fell asleep on the tracks of the Underground Railroad. Anyway.
Really?
This thing is super realistic. Although the trigger is a little loose. Ruh-roh. Oh, I can't believe you did that. But I won't tell anyone. And, in fact, good news. I'm gonna make you my little protege. And I will be your protojo. And I got so many more lessons to teach. Still here, huh? Yes, just a little cleaning. More good news. Next video is almost done. It'll be on incognito mode, and it's about the art. And the next main channel video is also nearly done. That'll be out shortly after. If you're looking for more content in the meanwhile, we have another channel called Story Mode. The Metal Gear Solid and Forspoken videos are especially good. Don't forget NordVPN. Thank you for watching. More soon.
Okay, so that was actually a lot different than what I expected. Like I said, I didn't know too much what to expect with this. I really didn't. And I thought the theater was like maybe just a play on something to get to another topic entirely. But for the most part, I'm very
Over the
pleased
course
with
of
this.
history,
1 second. So the main parts of this that I really enjoyed were, I always love about learning something I didn't know before. So the limelight, that was something I didn't know. I didn't know it was made out of quicklime. I didn't know they heated it up. I didn't know all that kind of stuff. That's pretty awesome. But it makes you wonder how in the world these people figured this stuff out to begin with. It's so odd. To be honest with you, there's so many things, the ways that we used to entertain each other. We have so much entertainment at our fingertips these days. We have so much, it borders on the absolutely ridiculous. How much entertainment we have day to day. And how many things we have to distract ourselves from our everyday lives. Back when this stuff was done, this was it. This was pretty much it as far as the kind of stuff that we, would understand as entertainment. God. Some people say, I wish I lived in simpler times. No, you don't. You can pick up your phone and look on YouTube at any time. You can sit there and play a game on your computer, on a console. You can open up your TV and look through 17 different kinds of applications and channels through thousands of different, producers and stuff like that bring all these kinds of different genres in. And even though I have a huge beef with, recent movies and stuff like that, just how unoriginal and how uninspired, hacky, and just pathetic they are in a lot of ways. I mean, if I get bored on a Saturday and I don't have anything to do, I can sit there and binge watch the entire Aliens franchise. What am I going to do in 1800s England? Die? Well, technically, yes, I would die. That would happen. Any number of ways it could happen. So it is nice to hear something about this. I knew about a little bit of it just because I did have a little bit of a background in it. But at the same time, the trapdoor system, yeah, I would just hate to be caught underneath a couple of those presses when they shoved you up in there. And if you were 5'5" in the medieval period, you were a giant almost. Guys, this was quite frankly a welcome surprise. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. If you did, you haven't subscribed to Internet Historian, why aren't you? Go ahead and subscribe to him. Subscribe to me while you're at it. I'm going to head out from here. All my links are in the description below. And I'll catch you guys next time, bugs. The theater.